Okay, guys, I wanted to make a point about what the seller paid does not matter. I hear this so often that someone will look at a lot, they'll have a lead, the seller called them and said they want to sell, said they don't want to sell on market, and people will be afraid to make offers because they see, oh, they paid some astronomical number that's far more than it's worth today, let alone what we could pay for it. And so I'm going to show you two examples from this year to help kind of dispel that idea from your head. So, right in front of us is a lot that was one of the first deals of the year. We bought this at 60. We sold it for 110 a few days later. And the sellers we bought it from had bought it for 200. And really the key to this from my experience is that you need to approach it very much from a position of, hey, I don't need it. We always do some form of the takeaway when you see that they paid far, far more than it's worth today, unless they give us some sort of number that is indicative of the fact they're willing to take a big loss, or sometimes they'll say, yeah, I overpaid, so this will just be a tax loss for me this year. Otherwise, we do approach it cautiously and start with oh, Mr. Seller, looking around, I don't think we're going to be able to pay anything near what you want. You should probably list this on market. And oftentimes that gets them to come back to you and say, no, 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 no. I don't want to. What can you pay? And that opens up the door to then make the offer. So do approach it more cautiously. Um, but you can get deals here. And this is a prime example. And again, they bought it at 200. So that's pretty substantial. But even more than that, let me show you another one. So this one just sold in April, this one right here. And we bought this for $20,000 in December or January. It took a little bit of time to sell, and then we sold it at 50. Now, this one is tricky because it's really prime in that it's on the water, desirable area, nice lot, but it was very low right over here. And so we weren't even sure if there was a way to get a home site anywhere near the water. And we were treating this as if it were a lot that was inland, not on the water, because very likely we thought, all right, they're going to put their house somewhere in here because this is so wet. Now, in hindsight, looks like there's a specifically wet area that if you do a bridge over it, you could get the house here potentially with some fill and some building. But nonetheless, we were pretty intimidated about buying this lot because of all these factors. I mean, lots on the water right over here will sell at 100 grand. Weren't a ton of lots, comps right on the water next to it because a lot of these are not buildable because they're so wet. But all that to say, when we looked at the GIS, we almost thought there was a typo. The prior owner had bought this for 200. And so initially, my guy did a hard takeaway of, Mr. Seller, we're not going to be able to give you what you want, blah, 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 all that. No, he really wanted to sell. Knows he was going to take a loss, and we didn't need it. So we offered 35. Well, he agreed eventually after some back and forth. And then our realtor actually went to the property and he really, really emphasized how wet this was and how, oh, I don't know, blah, 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 might not be able to sell this more than 40. And so we went back to the seller. We go, hey, man, look, I'm sorry. We made a mistake after looking at this more in person. We can't do it. I will just give you our realtor and he should be able to get you somewhere close to what we were going to pay. And the guy just insisted, no, I don't want to deal with a realtor. He was frustrated, but what can you pay? And we said, okay, we'll buy it at 20. And he said, fine. And so he had bought this at $200,000. We bought it at 20. And again, that approach of the takeaway, and that second time, we were serious. We didn't want to buy it. We didn't want to renegotiate. Go ahead, just sell it with the realtor. And he just, for whatever reason, did not want to deal with it. So, all right, fine. We'll buy it at 20 if you want to just get rid of it. So that's exactly what we did. All in, it was like 21,200 into the lot. I paid $250 to get the septic permit renewed. Quick aside on that, guys, be careful of these areas where hurricanes have come in, storms, and really changed the landscape because it had an expired septic permit. So we thought of it as just a formality to get it re-upped. Well, when they went to dig holes again, they had a hard time getting it to perk. because there had been some huge storms. Soil had been turned over and disrupted a lot. Just the land had changed. And so it was a close call. They got it to perk, but they scared us a bit, saying, "Oh, I don't know. I think this might not perk." And the seller almost, or excuse me, the end buyer almost pulled out when we resold it, but we got it to perk and all was fine. So, anyways, short and sweet, pretty simple. But when someone has paid far more than what it's worth today, start with some sort of takeaway and just know that you can buy those at a discount too. And if you approach it properly, you won't offend the seller and you can get deals even when someone paid 10x what you want to offer.